Sharon Coyle, Sharon, Coyle, Coyle, and I am the owner of Rolling Hills Asylum. In 2008, I came out here. It was June 12th, Friday the 13th and 14th of 2008. Dave Schrader had an event. He was doing all these awesome events around the country. He had an event out here, and it was on my bucket list to come to Rolling Hills, so I came out for the event, and little did I know that was going to be the start of everything. I went back home, and in the spring of '09, I got a phone call from someone back here saying that they thought Rolling Hills was going to get closed down. They weren't sure it was going to get torn down. And they were really upset on the phone, and which made me actually get very upset when I realized they weren't joking. And I decided to look into what I could do to save the property. The draw for me to own Rolling Hills was multiple. I was looking for a business. I really wanted to have my own business. I thought it was going to be a winery or a wine bar. However, I also was very involved with the paranormal. I had a group of 3 people. We did home investigations in California, and then we had a huge meetup group. I had the largest meetup group in California at the time. It was like 450 people. So I was very involved with the paranormal. Of course, being in the paranormal, you want to save historical properties. So it seemed to be a really good fit. That's actually how I started looking into the property and why I started looking into the property. I started feeling like a real big connection to the property right after I left in 2008. Even though I was really busy with my other teams and going to all these other locations in California, I'd constantly go back and review the evidence from Rolling Hills, which is really bizarre. And so I really always felt a huge draw for it. And then when I came back on one of the visits in 2009 to look at the property, I'll never forget, I'm walking out the back door at night, and I stopped and I said, I'm going to be back next month. I'm going to try to buy the property. I won't leave you guys alone. I'm going to do everything I can. And some woman hollered over, like she was standing over the railing, bye. And by woman, I mean spirit. And it just, they picked me. There's no other reason why I'm here. I should be in California by the beach. But there's no reason why I should be here, but I am. So the history of Rolling Hills goes back about a couple hundred years. It opened up in 1827 as the Genesee County Poor House. It housed widows, orphans, drunkards, mentally and physically disabled people, Civil War veterans, and so forth. It was really a self-sustainable facility. It was almost like the first welfare system of society. They had farmland. They made their own furniture, caskets, bread, cheese. They had everything here. It was really self-sustainable. And as time went on, it started with a couple hundred acres of land, grew to almost 400 acres of land. Come the 1930s, they needed a hospital out here. So in 1938, they built the infirmary, the Genesee County Infirmary, which everyone knows is the iconic building as Rolling Hills. And then around 1956, one of the men's dorms burnt down. We believe a man fell asleep smoking in bed, killed about 14 to 16 men in the fire. And then they built the long east wing, which is the long brick building, in 1958. And then 1964, we became the Genesee County Nursing Home. But that only lasted for about 10 years. We closed down in 1974 due to lack of water. The facility was running out of water, and even now, today, the town of Bethany is running out of water. So this has been an ongoing problem for decades of lack of water. So they closed down the property, and then there were 3 private owners prior to me. Cecil Speakman bought the property first. He was an elderly man. He wanted to create assisted living for the elderly. He had no money for the property or to make any repairs. He moved in here, and he started repurposing some of the cinder blocks and moving them from one part of the building to the other to make different rooms. Poor man, he was in his 70s. He was moving cinder blocks from one area to the other, and he would give himself strokes and end up passing away in the building. Then there were the Bodeckers. In the 90s, they opened up Carriage Village. They had like a living museum and shops and things like that. And Rosemary became very ill about 10 years in, and he sold the property, and she passed away. Previous owners to me opened up Rolling Hills Country Mall. Not only was it a craft mall and an antiques mall, they started doing paranormal investigations. And I bought it in October 2009, the day before my birthday. And then I moved here in the spring of 2010, and I've been here ever since. The paranormal here is crazy. It's off the hook, and you can experience anything from full body apparitions, shadow people, disembodied voices, poltergeist activity, you name it, it happens here. Actually, one of my girls here that are here today, Bridget, she was walking right where we are right now, And she saw this lady walk from where I'm at to behind the camera. And she was wearing a white shirt, and her hair was long and black and just dropped down like this. And so Bridget rounded the corner. She thought she was looking for a way out because the door behind you was actually locked. So she came right up, and as you can see, there would have been 3 locked doors here. There's no place for her to go, and the woman disappeared right in front of her. She kind of looked like the girl from The Ring, which is really weird. My favorite room, and that has a lot of activity, is the morgue. You can lay on the morgue table. We have a suit that hangs up. It acts like a pendulum, and people will lay on the morgue table and ask for help, and people will get compressions on their chest. They will feel like they're being pulled off the table. People have really experienced crazy things. We had this gentleman down there recently where his group had an ovulus and it's spitting out some words. It's going leg and hot and whole and all these things. And he kept saying his leg was getting hot and he could feel someone touching his leg. And as the words are coming out, we're going, why is he talking about a hole? And he goes, oh, I got shot in my leg in the war. And so they were touching his leg and they were talking about how he had a hole in his leg. You can get pushed in the wheelchair. I've sat in the wheelchair. Hundreds of people have sat in the wheelchair. People will push you in the wheelchair. Shadow people coming in and out of doorways. It's crazy. I've heard my name called out numerous times. It's just one thing after another. Balls will roll in front of you. There's just so much. I don't even know where to begin. It's amazing. The first day that I got here, I was meeting a maintenance guy here, and I was rounding the corner from behind me going into what is our gift shop area, and I saw what I thought was a kitten on the floor. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a kitten. I'm like, no, it's a rat. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a rat. So I called the maintenance guy, and of course the rat was gone. I said, tomorrow you have to do rat abatement. So he goes down the stairs to go to the morgue the next day to put out rat traps, and he calls me. And he goes, Sharon, there's a rat laying here on the step. And he's laying on the step, and his little tail's hanging over the edge. He's got ick hanging out of his mouth. And he goes, he must have fallen, off the wall or off the railing. I'm like, rats don't fall. They crawl straight up roofs and trees and everything else. A couple days later, some people were doing a tour for me, right above us actually, and they called me and they go, oh my God, you have to come upstairs, there's blood on the floor and it's wet. We go up there and it looks like blood stain in the shape of a rat. And there were big, massive handprints dragging blood down the wall. And there wasn't like dripping, but you could see the handprints. And then you could see big, ginormous footprints kicked against the wall, like someone had killed the rat. And to this day, I will go to my grave saying that Roy killed that rat for me, because the handprint is enormous, the feet were enormous, and I haven't had a rat in the building since. So I'm going to go to my grave saying that Roy killed the rat. Roy is our 7.5-foot shadow man. He is amazing. He got dropped off here when he was about 12 years old. His father just didn't want anything to do with him. He looked oversized. His facial features looked different. We had what we think was gigantism, and his parents just pretty much abandoned him. And he lived out his life here. He died, he was born March 4th, 1890, died April 11th, 1942 at the age of 52. He's 7.5 feet tall. He loves to dance with the ladies. He has a very deep, rich voice. He'll call out my name. He's just very, very engaging. And whenever I need him, he comes to my aid. There are so many spirits here that we know on a first name basis that interact with us on a regular basis. Cecil Speakman, the first private owner. Nurse Emma Allwart. She's our head nurse, and she's very prominent. I mentioned Big Jack and the solarium. We have Little Jack, who looks like Pugsley from the Addams Family. He's a little 10-year-old little boy. He's the type of boy that puts snakes in his pocket and things. He's really funny. He's full of spit and vinegar, We have Barber Bill, who will give you a haircut in the barber shop. There are so many. I'm not even George Fleming. There's so many. And then there's hundreds that we don't know their names. I call them my flybys. They'll interact with people, but if they don't give us their name, it's really hard to track them down. People always ask me about the unmarked cemetery or where the cemetery is. It's actually part of the Genesee County Park. That land used to be our land, and then after the property dispersed in 74, the county took over most of the land. And that's where Potter's Field is. It's unmarked graves. And then also a cemetery, which is kind of just a memorial. It's not really a cemetery. The historian acquired some gravestones that were found in the basement years ago and made a memorial out there. So unfortunately, I don't get any funding from the county or the state. People are, have a misnomer about this. So I am going to be starting a GoFundMe account. We are having roofers come out in November to take care of a section of our east wing. It's the part above the kitchen and the old dining room. And it's a big expense. And so I am going to be running a GoFundMe account, and I hope you'll go over there and donate $1 or $2 to help me, because really the only thing that I get are the ticket sales from the different events that support the property, that help with the maintenance of the property, and we really don't want to lose that section of the building. But I really do need your help. Please. If you want to come out to Rolling Hills, we offer a variety of opportunities. There are daytime asylum tours, there are nighttime ghost hunts, there are public and private ghost hunts. We do horror movie nights, celebrity events, all kinds of things, vendor fairs. And you basically just have to go on the website, rollinghillsasylum.com. Everything is pre-sold tickets through the website. We're all over different social media, but you have to buy tickets on the website.